Hello everyone, it's Jennifer and thank you for joining me today. Today we are going to be making projects using I have a project inside here, the Unicorn Bliss Color Trends Bead Mix from Jesse James Beads. I am focusing on earrings just because the earrings just shout out at me. I had all the beads laid out and it was earrings that actually shouted out to me. And so we are going to make a bunch of pairs of earrings. And I wasn't going to start off with this one, but I will. I have some of these. Where are they? Here they are. Quick links. These are quick links from Beadalon, and I got these at jessejamesbeads.com. And I'm going to use them to make a pair of earrings. So we're going to be using some beads from the Unicorn Bliss mix and some of these quick links just to add a little bit of length. And how I did this was I have some Beadalon flat head pins. Get these at jessejamesbeads.com as well. I just have them in a little bag just because when I ripped open the packaging, I ripped it open big time, and so it was not salvageable. So I went ahead and just put them in a little bag, marked them as Beadalon, and I know that they're Beadalon ear wires or head pins. I have a bunch of different tools over here off to my side that I am working with, and I will mention them as we go along. So this is basically what we're going to have. Oh, and my ear wires are also from Beadalon at jessejamesbeads.com. I love these ear wires. They are awesome. And if you look, their metals match. And so it's super duper nice because I like matching my metals. The different, there's different tones of gold, different tones of silver, and I just like to match them up as much as I can. And so what I did for this one here was I wire wrapped this coin disc bead directly onto the quick link, and then I did a wrapped loop. Then on the cube bead, which I love the cube beads, I did a simple loop at the bottom and then did a wrap loop up at the top. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and thread on my gorgeous, look at that pink. Isn't it just beautiful? That pastel pink, and look how it's faceted. It's just absolutely gorgeous. It's faceted to look like a little flower. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with the tippy tip of my chain nose pliers and give that a bend. And so I have a bend. Not really 90-degree angle bend, but it's close. And I'm going to come in, I have my round nose pliers marked, and I'm going to come in about halfway between that first mark that I have there. Side here, you can see that it is pretty thick. They're not thin by any means, but they're not so thick that I have to make an extra large loop to get around them. And then I'm going to go ahead and get that all straightened out and get that ready. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open it up a little bit, and I'll go over more of the wrap loops as we go through the tutorial because I do so many of them. Let's try and get this on there. And again, it is a little thick, so I just try to open it up a little bit so that I can get that through there. Got that through. Now, when I do my wrap loops, I do have a front and a back, and I want my tail to end up in the back. And so I'm going to have this as my front. My front is always where my wrap goes first. And so I'm going to go ahead and just grab onto the loop there. And the tippy tips of these chain nose pliers are thin enough to where I can fit that around without putting my chain nose pliers over where the two wires meet. And I'm just going to wrap around. And again, my back is back here. So I am going to end my wrapping in the back right there. And I'm going to come in and trim them with my flush cutters with the flush side and just give it a little bit of a trim. I don't want to accidentally trim that too, so I come in just a little gingerly. Give that a little bit of a trim, and you can come in and let's see, where's the back? There's the back. So you can come in here with your bent chain nose pliers, because I want to tuck in that little tail. And you look, it's never going to touch anybody, but for me, it's just cosmetic, and I just have to have it tucked in. All right, so now we have and it's straight. So if you look here, the loop is straight. Not as straight as, or straighter than this one here, but you can always come in. So this one here is not that straight. You see how it's not that straight? So all you have to do is just come in with your, with a thin pliers and come in and straighten that out. You get that all nice and straight. Now for this next side, I want to keep my front as my front. There. Okay, so there's my front. Now for this next one, I'm going to use some 20 gauge German style wire, and I was working on another project, and I had some extra left over, and I was starting to do it and thought, oh no, I want to use a smaller loop, but then also too, I want to use a simple loop down here at the bottom. So what I'm going to do there is I'm going to make sure that my wire is flush, and it's not. If you look, it is not flush. So I'm going to give it a good flush cut. And then I'm going to come in about the same, which is halfway in between this first mark and the tip. And give that, and I'm rolling away from me until I get that. And again, I am not a simple loop person at all, but that one turned out better than the other one. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut this guy off. I was going to keep him. Oh, I want to thread this on there first though. It's easier to add your, if you're going to use a simple loop, to add to your, for linking, and it's easier to add it to the link, or if you have another, strand that you wrapped, it's easier to put it on before you add the bead and start wire wrapping. All right, so here we go there. Now that my loop here is going this way, but I need my ear wire loop to go this way. So I'm going to go ahead and come in with my tippy tip, give it a bend. I have that. Now see, that's not even 90 degree either. And I'm going to come in at the same area that I come in for all of when I'm doing my where I'm going to be attaching my ear wire. I'm just going to form that over the top barrel. Then I'm just going to rotate my wrist. All I did was rotate my wrist so that my palm was facing the table, so I could bring this back. And if you look at that, that is all cattywampus. And all you have to do is just roll your wrist and move that to the back, just like that. And we're going to go ahead and come in with our chain nose pliers, put our chain nose pliers over the loop, not where the wires meet. And we're going to go ahead and do a few wraps. Also, what to keep in mind is getting it too tight, because these are glass beads and you can wrap them too tight. You can get them so close to the bead that when you go here to tuck in your little tippy tip, you can break. And I've done it before several times. Let me see if I got that. Okay, it's kind of away from my face. Okay, so now let's go ahead and attach our ear wire. Love these ear wires. Again, available at JessieJaneSbeads.com, and they are amazing. All right, so now we have our first pair of earrings. Let's go ahead and just put them down here so that you can see them. Cute, cute. Don't have very many scraps. I mean, I do have this scrap here, but this is a good size scrap that I can use for something else, but not that much. All right, so we will put those off to the side. Now, my next pair of earrings, I'm going to be using this this artistic wire mandrel so that I can make my loops. I'm making a pair of earrings and I'm going to use these guys here. These were also included in the bead mix, and I am going to make some ear wire loops. So we're going to make some hoops, and we're going to use some 20 gauge German style wire. And the reason why I'm using this is just because it's an incredible form. You have all these different sizes, including the handle. The handle is round, so you can even use the handle. And if you want a square, you can use the handle as a square too. But I do like this for forming my loops and my hoops, because then I know that I'm getting them the same size. I can put multiple on each, and I know I'm not going to damage my wire by having them pressed up against, you know, like a metal mandrel, a large metal mandrel. And it's just my preference, and I do use the large metal mandrels too. But for this one, I want to showcase this artistic wire mandrel set. And this is available at jessiejanesbeads.com. There's an oval attachment because they just come off like this. There's oval, there's circle, of course, we're using the circle. There's a square, and then there's a triangle. Very cute. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to make sure that I have the same size of wire for both. And I am probably going to go with maybe the second to the second from the bottom. And so I am just going to basically cut this in half. I'm going to waste quite a bit, but that's okay. All right. And I want to make sure I have flush cuts on both sides. So I'm just going to go ahead and do flush cut here. And this gives me the opportunity to make sure that they are the same length, because I just eyeballed that. Okay, and now let's make them to where they're not crossing. And let's go about here so that I get a good flush cut from some straight wire. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and form my loop. And I'm going to go ahead and just put them on top here and just wrap around. And wrap around. Okay, now we have a good size loop. All right, so what I'm going to do is I want to add a loop on one side, and then the other side is going to be how it attaches. Okay, so what I want to do first is I want to go ahead and start work hardening these, but I'm going to wait until after I do my loop so that my loop is nice and work hardened as well. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab, I have the 6-step loop, and I'm going to go ahead and use the smaller one. And I'm going to go ahead and just grab one end, make sure that the tip is not sticking out. And I am just going to roll away from me. It's easier to roll away. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And roll up and roll away. Okay. Now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and work harden this so that I know that it's going to be less pliable. This is German style wire, so it's a medium temper. And I'm just going to use the, I have a rubber side and I have like another rubber side. I don't know what the difference between the two. This one's probably more silicone. This one's more silicone. This one's rubber. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just start smashing. And I'm going to fast forward through the, I'm going to just show you what I do a little bit first, and then I'll fast forward through the other one. I'm being very careful that my wires are not crossing, and you want to do both sides. And again, I'm just making sure that my wires are not crossing. So I'll go ahead and do the other side and I'll come right back. Okay, I'm all done. So now what I need to do is my loop is not going in the right direction, and also too, it looks like a P. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to go ahead and first of all, I want to break the neck on it. And so by breaking the neck, I'm just going to stick my pliers, my round nose pliers in there and just do that. Okay, so I'm going to do it on this side too. And just, I'm probably off camera. Okay, so now I have it like that. Now what I need to do is my loop needs to be not facing that way. It needs to be flipped a little. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab firmly with my chain nose pliers, and I'm just going to turn it. And I'm going to turn it. And since it's work hardened, you know, it turns. And then, but it's a little tougher, and it's different than craft wire. And then I'm going to, I'll do it together. Do the same thing on this side, where I'm going to just flip it. And it's good that it's taking me a bit to get it flipped, because then I know that it's work hardened and I want it to be straight. Let's put it back on the mandrel just to make sure it's all straight, because my loop got a little cattywampus there. All right, so now what I want to do is I need my loops to be, I need these loops here to be just bent up a little bit. So I'm just going to bend it up a little bit. And put it at the base and bend up. And you probably didn't see that, so I'll do it on this side too. I'm going to just put it at the base here and then bend it up. There's a front and a back. This is the back, it's smooth. This side has the texture. So what I'm going to do is thread it onto the ear hoop that way, so that when the person puts on the earring, then it is facing out front. Just a little dainty, there. You're also going to want to finish off your ear wire, because this is a little pokey, and you might not want that to be poking out. Also too, that there is where it's going to be going into your ear. So you have this fandy dandy little bead-alon drill here that you just attach to the end here, and it just gets that all nice and neat so it's not pokey. Let's go ahead and do the same to this one here. And I just work it a little bit, and then I just do a little bit of a check. This, I believe that's available on Jessie James Beads too, but jessiejamesbeads.com. All right, so let's go ahead and get this guy on there. And then all we have to do now is just flip up our ear wire here. And I'm just gonna align those up right next to each other like that, because I want everything to be the same. And I am going to grab I have some wider flat nose pliers that are a little more the same. And I'm going to come in about here and give it a little bit of a bend. And now we have a pair of earrings. Very cute. Okay, so now we have a pair of hoops, and they're just cute. I just wanted to have a different way of using these little flowers, and that's what came to mind. Okay, let's go ahead and we are going to move on to the next one. Okay, and then we have some 20 gauge German style wire here. So what I want to do is make a simple loop down at the bottom and then a wrapped loop at the top. And I have some ear wires left over from, this might be summer camp with Jesse James Beads. And on that note, summer camp, there's winter workshop is in the works right now. Kits have arrived. I will post my unboxing soon and get that ready for you, and so that you can see everything that's in the workshop kit. The workshop starts November 9th, but it's I believe it's let me grab. It is 2 classes per week. So, or actually 5 classes per week, or this one's 5 classes. It's 2 days a week. So it's the 9th and 10th, the 16th and 17th, 30th and 1st. And we have the amazing Nilay Patel to open up the show, and the incredible Sarah Ayler, and then the list just goes on and on and on and on. And I cannot wait. This is everything that comes in the kit. You're going to get all these beads, mixes, and beads from Jesse James Beads. You're going to get a bunch from John Beads, Sculpey, Jewel Loom, the Darn Good Yarn, and some Precioso, and Baubles of Fun. It's just endless. Tiara Cast. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I cannot wait. So I will share my video soon. All right, so we're gonna go ahead, and I already cut off the top, but what I wanna do is I don't wanna cut and then have a bunch of scraps. And so I'm gonna go ahead and thread my guy on here. And then I'm gonna go ahead and do my simple loop. And my simple loop looks like it's probably about here. And I'm just gonna go ahead and go around, and I am going to put my pliers back in there. Again, this is probably not the accurate way to do it, but it works. It got what I wanted. All right, or I got what I wanted. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna double check this guy, because sometimes I will mess with them and they'll get a little off. Okay. So now let's just go ahead and come in. I just want to get that anchored down there. I want to open it up because before I start doing my wrapping, I want to attach my dangle. Now, yes, my dangle is an open loop down here, but if I don't have to open it, I'm not going to. All right, so now I have my loop. Let me see how I have my loop on this side. They are going in the same direction. So I want to do the same thing here. So now I'm going to go ahead and get this up at the tippy tip, and give that a bend. And there we go. We have our bend. I'm going to come in where I come for my ear wire connection there and run that over the barrel. Rotate my wrist, push that to the back, and then get that nice and centered. I am going to go ahead and put my chain nose pliers down there. Since this is so long, I don't need my second pair of chain nose pliers. And I'm gonna just go ahead and start wrapping. And I want nice, clean, tight wraps, but not too tight because this is a glass bead. All right, so there we go there. Give that a snip, and I've got a good chunk of wire there that I didn't. Now I have a nice long piece. I probably would have cut it a little short or a little long so that I could do the wire wrapping. So I just try to work from the spool as much as I can. I have these ridiculously long spool, huge spools of the German style wire. So I just, I will pull off the, like, how much around so that I can go ahead and link it in because I don't want it to go flying everywhere. All right, so here we go. We attached our ear wire, and here is our third pair of earrings. Very cute, very springy. I know we're heading into fall, but I just love these. You can wear these with denim. You can wear these with anything. They're just absolutely incredible. And I love these beads. You see that I have these two sticking out still. I kind of want to save them because I saved a couple of beads from another mix and I want to use those together. So, yeah, let's move on to the next one because we have quite a few to do. And I'm saving my favorite for last. Okay, so here we have that flower bead again. It's a center cut and very easy just to go ahead and put some wire through this end and have a dangle, put some wire on this end and go up. But I wanted to do something different. And so I wanted to stack it. And so what I did was I flattened out these they look like Pringles, and I added a pearl, a rhinestone spacer, and one of those blue gorgeous beads, and it just flows really well, and I just love it. It's just nice, short, and yeah, just really cute. All right, so how I did that was I have these nylon jaw pliers, and I just stuffed it in the middle. I did not hammer them. I just went ahead and did them on my with my nylon jaw pliers. Stuck them in there, just like so, and pressed. Stick them in there. Got them in there right, and press. Okay. That's all I did for those. So now I'm going to use one of my Beadalon head pins. Love them. And I went back and forth. I went back and forth with adding a bead here at the bottom. And then I just decided I wasn't going to do that. This one I went back and forth with quite a bit on the design. And we have a gorgeous pearl bead. Again, everything I'm using today is from the bead mix as far as the beads and these spacers. The ear wires and the head pins and all the wire doesn't come in the bead mixes. It's just the beads and these metal components. We're going to get to where I'm using some bead caps from my stash, but I will point that out too. All right, so here we have this little stack of beads with crystal spacer. I just love it. It's just cute. All right, we're gonna go ahead and come in here at that halfway mark. I've got my palm facing me and I'm forming that over the top. I'm just holding on to it just so that I don't lose my spot. And then here we go. We'll get that all straightened out. And now I know why I have one ear wire. I couldn't figure out why I only had one. Okay. Sorry, I kind of squirreled on that. All right, so now let's go ahead and get this all tidied up. As you can see, I don't have that long of a tail here to work with. So I'm just going to go very slowly. I let go at every half turn because if it snaps, I wouldn't have enough to finish it off. All right, and there we go. Okay, let's go ahead and give that a little bit of a trim. Let's hold on to this guy here. You can very easily use your fingers, but for me, I feel like I have a better grip of this hand and what I'm doing with the component here if I have it held. All right, let's go ahead and get this ear wire on. And is that the front? Yep, that's the front. And here we go. Here is earrings number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So super cute, huh? All right, so now let's get rid of scraps and we'll move on to the next one. Oh, I love this one. This one's so pretty. This one is one of my favorites because it's just so elegant and gorgeous. I did a simple loop up here just because of spacing. I wasn't able to do a wire wrap. I'm not the best at simple loops, as you can tell, but this is just super cute, and it does flow. It's not tight. It is flowy, but that's okay. I usually like them all tightened up. Now, these little guys here are from my stash. And where did they come from my stash? They came from one of my beads by the pound that I got from Jesse James Beads. Also, I have this little silver spacer bead. I have no idea where I got these from. I got these, I don't know, probably when I first started making jewelry a few years ago, and I have no idea where I got them. They might be crimp beads. I don't know. But I use them as spacers when I need them. All right. And I do like to match my silver. So we're going to go ahead and use this guy, that guy. Oh, and this crystal spacer did come from the bead mix. And also too, look at that beautiful rondelle. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead. And the reason, now I probably could have just done a wire wrap here. And maybe I will do that just as for a variation, without adding the extra stuff at the top. I'm going to go ahead and pull an audible here and make it a very tiny loop. So I'm going to go a little bit less than halfway between that mark. And I'm going to come around and get that to go towards the back. It's a very small piece, but I think I got it to work. Then in the comments, you can let me know which one you like better. I already know which one I like better. I'm not even done with it, and I already know that I think I like this one better. Because I think it just keeps the, sorry about that. I'm just going to go ahead and squeeze around to get that to go towards the back. Okay. And I do have a little bit to trim off. Oh, and it keeps it tight. Oh, yep, this one's the winner for me. I just have a very little piece here that I want to get off. Yep, this one's a winner because I love that center section, and I don't want to take away from that center section by having a bunch of stuff up here at the top. Okay, now, because I think this is what's going to happen early on in my jewelry making days, I would go, so what I would do is sometimes make my loop a little too small, and I'd be like, oh no, I need to redo it again. Not realizing all you have to do is just bring it back up through here. It's backwards, but you know what I mean. All right, I think I like this one better because then it doesn't, is just, I don't know. We'll let you guys figure it out. I just like it better because it's not loosey-goosey, and I don't know. I have longer longer head pins, but they weren't the same silver. They weren't a bright silver. They were, more of a dull silver. But I think I like these better. So super cute. Have another pair here. All right. And in my picture that I will include what that one, both of them together. All right, so now let's go here. I love this one too. I am all about, you can see where I was going with all of this. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? So what do we have here? We have our bead-along head pin. We have these gorgeous chunky beads from the bead mix. Again, these little rondelles that I just love. We have the crystal spacer, and we have these bead caps, all included in the bead mix. Not included in the bead mix are these bead caps that I got from my Beads by the Pound, and then this one here too, which is my Beads by the Pound. You're going to look at that and go, that's not the same. You're kind of mixing your silvers. I am, but it just flows for this project. Then I have a couple of those little mystery spacer beads or whatever they are. All right, so we're going to go ahead and thread on one of these guys. And the reason why I threaded on one of these guys is because that guy his hole is too big. And I wanted this on the bottom. I did want this on the bottom as well. I could have gone without, but I wanted it. And then we're going to go ahead and thread this guy on. Then, I guess I can form it a little bit. All right, so then I did this one here. Again, that was from my Beads on the Pound by the Pound, just to give a little bit of smooth texture. Then we're going to add that guy. We're going to add this guy. We're going to add this guy, this guy, this guy, and this one. Now, you're going to say, that's kind of like what you were saying you didn't like about the other one. But I like this. This looks good. And I think I did get a wire wrap loop. Did I get 2? I think I got 2 around there. And I think what I did was, instead of bending it over, I think I just kind of did it that way. Maybe. I can't remember. Let's go ahead and just do it the way we normally do it and give it a bend. There we go. It's a little cattywampus, but we'll fix it. Okay, we're going to come in about there, form over. And the reason why is because the reason why I didn't want to bend have that bend is because I could only get a couple of wraps. So as you can see here, there's not as much space as there is on the other ones. Okay, so I'm going to get this around twice. Okay, and I'm just being very, very careful. Okay, and look at my loop. It's all jacked. I will try to fix. Is this tight? No, that one's not that tight, but I'm going to try and fix it up here. Either that, or you just grab another. Yeah, it's a little loose, but I do want it's not my most attractive work. Okay. Nope, we're going to redo it. You have to be very careful too when you're doing this. So now you see all that I go through when I'm trying to do, when I'm deciding what I'm going to do with the bead mixes. I go back and forth. I make, I stop, I redo. I just, sometimes it takes a lot longer to do that first one than to do all of the rest. All right, so that's why I'm going very quickly here. All right, let's get our last bead on. Okay, so let's try this again. Let's go ahead and go at the very, 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 very tippy tip. Very tippy, tippy tip, and give that the right angle bend that we're supposed to have. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to go a little bit smaller because I want to use that wire from my wrapping. Okay, and then let's go ahead and we might have to grab this to bring it to the back. There we go. All right. And let's get that. I'm only going to get this around twice. So I just want to be very careful not to snap the head pin. These are very strong head pins. Probably would take a lot to snap them, if they would even snap. They might not even snap. Let's get it to go around a little bit more. So I'm just gonna kind of help it along the way there and give it a little trim. And that's the front. So let's go back here. It has a little more movement than what I want, but I'll just go back and change that. All right, let's go ahead and get that closed up. And there we have. So it's very busy. It's got there's a lot of metal going on, but I just love those chunky beads. They're just so pretty. So gorgeous. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is number 6. Now let's go ahead. I love this one. This one's probably my favorite. And all of the antique bronze stuff that I have here is from my stash. And I just love all those colors together. So I did have a really long, 3-inch, yes, 3-inch head pin. And so what I'm gonna do is I added a small bead cap and then the large filigree, and then I did the large filigree, a medium, and then did the small, and then just kind of worked my way up. And I just thought that that looked really pretty all together. So we're gonna go ahead, and these all came from my stash. All these bead caps did. All right, so we're gonna start off with this guy, and then go to this guy, then we're gonna top him off with another one of these big guys, another one of these, another one of these. Then we're gonna go ahead and I think I put this on. And then we're gonna go here, we're gonna go here. Then we're gonna go ahead and put this guy on and that guy. So I have some little tiny petals and then some open filigree. I just thought that that looked really pretty together. We're gonna go ahead and come at the tippy tip. And again, I don't have to worry, I've got a lot. I could have done this with the standard 2-inch, but I didn't wanna. By the time I did this one, I was kind of tired and thought, I'm not gonna mess with it. I have a longer head pin. I'll go ahead and use that. All right, so there we go there. I'm gonna open this up. Even though my, these ear wires have, it's open loop at the bottom. If I don't have to open it, I don't want to, because I have broke quite a few. And that is probably just maybe the quality, I don't know. And it could just be me. I've done projects alongside others, while watching, and I have a tendency to, rip the threads, and also have a tendency to be a little more rough. Okay, let's get that to go towards the back. There we go. Give that a little bit of a trim. And since I have something here to hold on to, I can go ahead, and I feel pretty good by just coming in here and giving it that little squish without grabbing my pliers. So here we go. Super cute, aren't they? Okay, and again, I actually, I would have cut it real close if I would have used the standard 1-inch or 2-inch. So I'm glad I did do that. I'm gonna go ahead and save that. Then I have another pair of earrings. I thought that I would try something here. Here's my ear wires, my Beadalon ear wires. These came in the bead mix, very pretty. And so what I thought of doing was just using these guys in the middle. And I think I was gonna end up with that and that and that left over. I think that was left over. And then I was going to go ahead and make, and then just gradually make them smaller. So this one's probably my next one. Yes, so this one's my next one, and I need 4. So my thought is here, 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 here. Just like that. And I didn't do them all. I didn't do the one and then just demonstrate the second one, because I want to show how I get them all the same length. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna have them all, I align them down at the bottom rather than the top, just because you can see here there's just a little bit difference, and so I line them up at the bottom and give it a little trim. So now all 4 of those are the same. And we're just gonna go ahead and thread them. Again, these beads, gorgeous beads, came from the bead mix. And let's see, where did I go? Oh, I went in the middle. All right, so let's go ahead and gonna go just right here. And breaking the neck is not important, because this is all gonna get, it's all gonna get hidden, but you can if you want. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the rest of these done up. And all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep one of these out so that I can measure this one and make sure that it's a little bit shorter. So go ahead and I will get them finished up and I'll come right back. Okay, so I started back up and realized I needed to show you guys what I was doing. So what I did was to, again, reduce the amount of scraps. Went ahead and threaded these guys on. I'm gonna just, that's the bend that I put in my spool. And I went ahead and threaded everything on. I threw an audible. So this isn't actually what I was planning on doing with the extras up here, but it just worked out really well. And with doing this, I used every single bead, every single metal component, everything in the box, except for these 2 guys, but I have a plan for these 2 guys anyways, so that is intentional. All right, so I went ahead and did my loop, my simple loop, so that I could attach all my little guys here that I strung up, and we're gonna go in particular order. I mean, we're gonna go in this particular order. Let's go here. That guy does get in the way a little bit. All right, I'm gonna put this guy on and this little guy. Okay, oh, we have to close it up. I did lose my little bead. That's okay, I will get him back. I will get back that one too. I know it probably seems like such a nuisance just to save some wire, but I try. All right, so here's what we have. And also too, I had to add this other bead down below here just so that it was a little more stable. Okay, and then of course I added one of those little spacer beads, one of those little guys for my stash. So everything came from the bead mix with the exception of this little ball and my chain. And so I'm gonna go ahead and get this wrapped up here at the tippy tip and get our wrap loop. This is the last earring that we're making, but we used every bead with the exception of those 2 that I'm intentionally leaving out. Okay, so now let's go ahead and get this nicely wrapped. Okay, let's go here. And I'm gonna go around 3 times so that it could be nice and tight. I don't want this moving around. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and do this and get that tucked in. If I've been going off camera, I apologize. All right, so there we have our wrap loop. Pretty cute. Okay, so now we're gonna use the last of these amazing ear wires that I keep on talking about from Beadalon, and I had just the right amount. Okay, so here we go. Here is our final pair of earrings. So we have these guys. We have these guys. We have these guys, which are my favorite. We have these guys, which are close to my favorite. We have these guys, again, close to my favorite. These guys where I have two different variations. And I think I like that variation better. And then we have our hoops. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pairs of earrings using one bead mix and nothing. These are my own bead caps. Nothing is left over except for these two guys, which is intentional. This is the Unicorn Bliss, and I used some quick links from Beadalon, available at jessiejamesbeads.com, and some ear wires from Beadalon, also from jessiejamesbeads.com. I used some flat head pins, jessiejamesbeads.com, and some German style Beadalon wire. Please give this video a huge thumbs up if you like it. I know it's been long, but we had a lot of projects to get through. And do comment. I love to see what everybody has to say, and subscribe. And until next time, have a good one.